cheap cash in. Second one, is it? Well, just get it out of the way. Seriously, just get it out of the way. Done, gone. This film on Lonely Tree Entertainment, it's been in so many videos. I'm just going to repeat myself. I'm just going to repeat myself. I'm just going to repeat myself. Repeat myself and repeat myself. Okay, so this one is Watches. Okay, Watches. It's right there. There we go. DVD. Looks bitchin'. Said bitchin' in red. Unlike the disastrous and absolutely butt ugly, no surprise what the creature is on the front cover there when they're New Zealand VHS, amazing German VHS. Yeah. This film's done the whole world. Got a good story about that. In fact, when I was getting into the Corey Haims and Corey Feldman movies and trying to track them down, you would have to get one of them big books. I don't have a big book. Do I have a big book? You'd be like, okay, Corey Haim was in such and such and such and he's in a film called Watches. And then you're looking for Watches and never going to find that. In fact, my parents live in New Zealand and much away, and it wasn't until 1996 I went all the way around to New Zealand, and that's when I first discovered Watches. So Watches has been on the channel. Every time I'm in New Zealand, I talk about Watches. Every time I'm in the house, I watch Watches. Recently, I watched Watches. In the book, the dog is absolutely hilarious. More recently, I filmed a rant 8.5 minutes long, and again, Dan, who I mentioned in the last video, cut me out for Vampire Mike. So yeah. I talk too long. Now, Watches is based on a book by Dean R. Kuntes, and the book is amazing. No, seriously, the book is really good. Found the book in a used bookshop in Newcastle one day, and obviously knowing the film that well, when you read it, it's so good. Like, it's completely different to the movie. Travis, who Corey Haim plays, in the book's older. Nora plays his mum. In the film, in the book, it's the girlfriend. Set over about a year. Dog's really funny. Creature, mongoloid, that thing from the front cover, knows it's an abomination. So there's a lot of character, what you get with a book. Now this series is all about looking at Haim. Now Haim at this point had done License to Drive, which we haven't got there yet with the series, and then did Dream a Little Dream, and at this point ends up back in Canada. Now Watches on a bit of paper, Corey Haim. Silver Bullet, Lost Boys, Watches. Should have been a home video smash. It's been a lot. I mean, I do have an Italian poster of it. But when it comes to in the UK, never seen it. Never walked into a video shop and went, wow, and now there is about 5 Watches movies. I know Watches 2, discovered this recently, was released in England. I have seen it and does borrow a lot more from the book that they didn't use, a bit like what I did with Jurassic Park. I stopped jump cutting, haven't I? Not that I need to not jump cut on this series, but I've already talked about the Watches, and this is about Haim. Now Haim's grew his hair out, it's blondish, and you can say it's the same kind of era as Dream a Little Dream when he had his red. His girlfriend Lala's in it, who was also in Dream a Little Dream, and the lass who plays his mum plays his girlfriend in Oh What a Night. So it's like, whoa, same casting agent, maybe. It's a bit worrying, you know, because he's like, Mammy. Then about 2 years later, he's like, I want to fuck you. Anyway, Haim's performance in this, he does look quite drained in this. The movie's got, it's not Jerry Goldsmith, it's Joel Goldsmith, so it's got like, you know, to me it's always felt like a bit First Bloody. Set in a small town, it looks a bit like Twin Peaks, it's a bit rainy. The dog's well trained. The creature effect, you know, it does feel a bit like Silver Bullet to me, where it's all point of view and then, you know, it's like what's going on. And Michael Ironside is completely wasted in this because his character's not in the book, and Michael Ironside, the go-to bad guy who's just terrifying. I mean, he's absolutely terrifying in Highlander 2. But he's menacing as fuck in Total Recall. So Michael Ironside was a massive cast. So essentially it should be Corey Haim, Michael Ironside, but I don't think Total Recall came out yet. Highlander 2 definitely hadn't. Anyway, Michael Ironside though, you know, comes in, he's like, I am the third experiment. Like, aye. Flashes along flashes along. There's some stupid bits in it, mind. I know Dan was talking about how Feldman was going to play the voice, so someone was still trying to ride the wave of the two Coreys, but Corey's at this point, you know, he's clearly off his rocker a bit and he's back in Canada. But again, he's star potential. Slap his name on the box, horror movie. And again, this is the late 80s, so yeah. But Haim's performance, you know, he seems a lot slimmer than he does. He seems a lot smaller, I would say as well. He seems to wear a lot of big baggy clothes that he looks quite lost in as well. As I say, his girlfriend's in it, so he's really going to have, you know, a life of jury over there. He's going to have all the hotels and everything paid for. You know what I mean? He's just got to go up there and act. And a lot of this film's on special effects. It's a good 80s horror. I always said this. I've said this in the last couple of videos. They didn't Stranger Things doesn't give this film enough credit. Stranger Things borrows a lot from this as well. I've done a podcast for it if you want to ever hear me watch the movie and waffle along. But again, it's just like the guy in the computer room. There's all these computer rooms. He's like, I can hear something, and then you hear these hands, and he's like, oh, and you're like, oh, it's got some really like cheesy 80s stuff. Pretty gruesome. People get their eyes ripped out. Ends up in the woods. Completely diverse from the book, though. You know, the book is the dog is hilariously funny. And the dog's just a little fair-faced dog, A to Z, Einstein, whatever you want to call the dog. Him as well, you know, it's weird. You just think that this film, if you look at Lost Boys, License to Drive, Dream a Little Dream, and this, it's kind of like, it's a quirky one. It's a quirky one, but you can always tell because he's got a mullet. But yeah. As I say with the channel, I've waffled a lot. The video footage I filmed for Dan has been extracted and separated as well, and so you can hear me talk about watches again. But again, for this series, it's all about Haim's presence. And I think this was like hoping for a hit, and I think this potentially did alright for 4 sequels. You know, it's never been remade. I think it could do with a really good remake, and I think it would work really well as a series. Again, there's a lot of mileage in the book that you don't get with the movie. Availability though, I would first of Haim's performance. I don't think he's been pushed enough in this. I don't think someone's went fucking hang on, calm down a minute. You know, his girlfriend's in the movie. It's close to home. The parties are still going to be a bit wild and stuff like that. You know, he's riding the Hollywood fame. This is just before he became the king of VHS as well. So we're getting VHS as a huge thing. So there's potential of pushing this movie. And it says it's been available all over the world. Its availability now, it's not good. This has been released, and this is about 10 years old. I've had this red box. Studio Canal released it in the UK. Studio Canal have been releasing a lot of big box. They've released Highlander again tomorrow, but in the UK that has seen the release on small box sell-through VHS. It's also got big box VHS, which has the absolutely butt ugly front cover. DVD's been out. It's been out in America. Never seen it past that. Potentially it should get a Blu-ray release. It definitely could live on the 88s or the 1-on-1 label, since that horror thing. And I have seen a DVD of 1 and 2 together in America. So if you want to watch this movie, you can track it down. It's about £10. You can get a version of that within the UK. It's a great movie to have in your collection of 80s movies. It's definitely a Corey Haim. I mean, if you're collecting Corey Haim movies, it's one of the easy ones to get a hold of as well. And as well, as I say, the covers as well. There's a lot of covers out there. But I highly recommend you getting that German VHS with a retro look. I'd say retro, it is retro. But yeah. Waffle again. This is it. Watches out the way. I know this is cheap cash in because I've just filmed the first one, which is Lost Boys. But at least we're around that same area. It's a good film. Love watching it. Seen it far too many times. And definitely check out the book. See you in the outtakes. Here in the outtakes, there we go, watches, boom, 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 yeah. I always find it funny waving. It's a really good front cover. Poster that. Obviously it's Italian, I think. I'm going to put this in as the outtake and just go, if there's a guy and he can go fuck himself on Facebook. Hate buying off Facebook, I'll probably never do it again. I seen a Darkman one sheet and I was meant to get it, and I bought it when I was at Clash of the Castle, and Clash of the Castle is actually out on Blu-ray now, so it shows you how long this has been going on. No disrespect to anyone who has any kind of issues, but if you're going to use mental health against us and then not start responding to us, I'm a bit like, well, you know, he basically said, oh yeah, buy that, or would you want anything else? And he had a Watches original UK poster, one sheet, and he wanted, I think, £45 for it, on top of what I paid, and I've only lost out on £20 at the minute. And now I don't have that penny pound, I can just say, go fuck yourself. I'm not going to name check you, because there's wills and ways to stuff, but you know what I mean. It was just like, that's a nice little hidden story into the Watches one. But yeah, I'm not sure what's next. I will be watching one today, no pun intended with that. I'm just thinking what I want to do. I'll probably wait and watch Dream a Little Dream again before I revisit it. So yeah, thanks for watching this. Goodbye. Oh, hang on, actually, before I say goodbye, today I actually bought another copy of Watches. So if you're watching this series, down the line, because I don't know where it's coming from, I think it's coming from Greece or something, there is a new VHS of the Watches on the way with a similar cover to that. But you know what? I love covers. I love artwork. Thanks for watching. Goodbye for now. Hello. In the Watchers video at the very end. This video was not over yet. So Watchers was the second one where I just went blah in I think we're up to about 6 or 7 now filmed, but only the first one like mastered and edited. So, you know, I needed to sit down and catch up, but again, like, I've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment with other stuff away from doing this. This is just great, and having these films on in the background just been awesome. And as you see with the series, I've had some blasts and had my eyes opened about a few films I've got there. So anyway, I got post and I was meant to come home and have a rant about that, this one, and this one was at the door. So we're in Watchers, so it's a big giveaway of what it is. Now, funny enough, this one's from Belgium or somewhere. Oh, it's from Italy actually. There's lots of stickers of Italy helicopters on the front cover. This came after the one from America. So again, as a big collector of the two Corys, as I say, Watchers is one of the only ones pretty much you can probably get on DVD if you want in the UK. I recently seen a small covered book of it, but the guy wanted quite a bit of money and he didn't do card. If he did a bit of card, there might have been some haggling there, but it's getting bad. Like, who carries cash now? So wow, Alta Azona Gentagata. That's what I'm going to call that. Watchers. Now it has Corey Haim's face on and the beast waving hello. So I say this wasn't that expensive. As I say, it's not a flip cover. On the back, Corey Haim the dog, the beast attacking, and Corey Haim with the dog again. 88 minutes, copyright in 1990, so approximately took like 2 years to come out. Front cover is very similar to almost. Yes, Matty Connor, whatever you say, that's solid, right? Anyway, I had to move that shelf anyway to get Watchers on, but it's very similar to the New Zealand one. The Corey Haim is just literally just floating in limbo, no shadow effect on it or anything. But again, if you look at it out in Italy, there you go. But yeah, that's fucking cool. That, like, again, it was just a one for the shelf. Not a bad price, you know. So anyway, yeah. So make sure you get round to Pray the Roller Boys. That's what that one is. And that will be like 6, 7 or 8 episode in. So yeah, when you see me back here, you know when we'll catch up. But this is Lonely Tree Entertainment. It bands all over the place. And if you're going to get Watchers and you're a real big fan of Watchers, I've probably said this before, that is the cover to own. And that is the... such a bad cover for England. Goodbye for now.